The Sultan? Victory at Ain Jalut should have been the ultimate triumph. Instead, it revealed the ruthless nature of power. Sultan Qautuz, the man who had led Egypt to victory, was assassinated shortly after the battle, and Baybars was almost certainly involved. Some accounts say he personally struck the fatal blow. In the brutal political world of the Mamluks, loyalty could be sacrificed the moment ambition demanded it. Whatever the full truth, the outcome was clear. Baybars, the boy once discarded as worthless, was now Sultan of Egypt and Syria. He did not waste his power. Baybars turned out to be not just a brilliant general, but a visionary ruler. He reorganized the Mamluk military into a highly disciplined, professional fighting force, unmatched anywhere in the region. He established one of the most effective intelligence and communication networks in the medieval world, a relay system of messengers and carrier pigeons that let him respond to threats faster than almost any ruler of his era. He rebuilt Cairo's defenses, strengthened its economy, and revived the Abbasid Caliphate under Mamluk protection, giving his rule religious legitimacy and restoring a symbol of unity to the Islamic world. And he did not stop looking outward. The Crusader states, still clinging to footholds along the Mediterranean coast, became his next target. City after city fell to his campaigns. Caesarea, Arsuf, the mighty fortress of Crac de Chevalier, one of the most formidable castles ever built, believed by many to be unconquerable.
Baybars conquered it anyway. Piece by piece, the Crusader presence in the Holy Land was being dismantled by the same man who decades earlier had been considered too flawed to even be bought as a slave.
But who was Baybars, really, behind the conquests and the crown? He was not a soft man, and history should not pretend otherwise. He could be ruthless, even brutal, willing to execute rivals and enemies without hesitation when he believed it necessary. His rise to power came through violence, and he maintained that power the same way. This was not a fairy tale hero. This was a survivor in a world where mercy was often mistaken for weakness. Yet he was also deeply disciplined and deeply devoted to his faith. He personally observed religious rituals, supported scholars and mosques, and saw himself as a defender of Islamic civilization against annihilation, a role he had quite literally earned on the battlefield. He was tireless. Even as Sultan, he continued to personally lead military campaigns, rather than commanding safely from behind palace walls. His energy seemed almost inexhaustible, moving from one front to another, one crisis to the next, rarely resting. He was also intensely practical. Baybars rewarded skill and loyalty, regardless of a person's origin, a reflection perhaps of his own journey from slave to sultan. But he could also be politically ruthless when he needed to eliminate threats to his rule. He was not a perfect man. He was a complicated one, shaped by rejection, forged by violence, and driven by an unshakable will to never be powerless again. Even as Sultan, Baybars never stopped moving, never stopped fighting. His final years were consumed by continued campaigns, securing borders, striking against remaining threats, and reinforcing the empire he had built. In 1277, while on campaign in Syria, Baybars fell ill and died. The exact cause remains debated by historians to this day. Some believe it was poison, possibly from a drink meant for someone else entirely. A haunting irony for a man who had survived decades of open warfare. The boy who had survived slave markets, brutal training grounds, and the terror of the Mongol invasion was finally gone. Not on the battlefield, but in a quiet, uncertain moment, far removed from the glory of Ain Jalut. His death sent ripples across the Islamic world. He had not just been a sultan, he had been a symbol, living proof that the Mongols could be beaten, that the Crusader states could be pushed back, that Egypt could be more than a target. He had rebuilt an empire from the ashes of near destruction. The Mamluk state he shaped would continue for centuries after him, and the foundations he built helped protect the region from further Mongol incursions for generations to come. The legacy of Baybars. Think back to that boy in the slave market, rejected, deemed too flawed to even be worth buying. If you had told anyone standing there that day that this boy would one day command armies, defeat the Mongols, conquer legendary fortresses, and rule as sultan over one of the most powerful states in the medieval world, they would have laughed. But Baybars didn't need anyone to believe in him. He only needed to survive, to adapt, and to outwork everyone around him. His story is not just a chapter in military history. It's a reminder that greatness is never determined by where you begin. Discipline can rewrite a destiny that seemed already decided. Courage, when paired with preparation, can overcome even the most overwhelming odds the world can throw at you. Baybars was not born a leader. He earned that title through blood, through discipline, and through relentless action. Empires rise, empires fall. But every so often, history remembers the ones nobody believed in, the ones written off, cast aside, deemed not worth the price. And somewhere in that memory, a rejected boy from the steppe still rides on, the slave who refused to stay broken and became the man who stopped an empire.